If we are going to live it this year, there's a part of it that we need to talk about. But it's not something we like to talk about. It's pain. Pain is a part of life, a part we wish would go away. But if God is the designer of the universe and the ruler of your life, it's God who has ordained or allowed your pain. Ouch. Why on earth would he do that? Is living with pain part of living for God or with God? Is it essential that pain be part of our experience if we want to share in God's nature, to be like him? I can hear you now. Perish the very thought. But what if that is true? What if an inescapable part of being God is being in pain all the time? The Bible tells us that the eyes of God go to and fro throughout the earth. What does he see? Surely a lot that would cause him pain. What if you were locked in a room with one bulletproof window, and through that window you could see into the next room where people were injuring your child over and over? What kind of pain would you feel? If you walked this earth and you healed and you blessed and you fed and you carried and you taught and you cared for and touched and you prayed for so many humans, and then you heard the swelling of those human voices as they shouted, "Away with him, crucify him," what kind of pain would you feel? What if one of your followers sold you out to those who wanted to beat and torture you for a pocket full of coins? What if you heard one of your dearest, closest friends denying that they ever knew you? What kind of pain would you feel? If you were God, what kind of pain would you feel as little babies that you have lovingly brought into life grow up and get strong and then use their muscles or money or guns or emotional manipulation or political power or just plain meanness to make the lives of your other little babies into a living hell? God is living with pain. And the earth is in pain. Scripture tells us that the earth is writhing in pain like a woman in travail, knowing that this process we're in is coming to an end. And that pain seems to get more intense as time moves on. Tectonic plates are grinding together, and earthquakes and tsunamis and volcanic eruptions and dramatic climate change give us the evidence that the earth is in pain. Entire species of life are whimpering and dying and disappearing from our planet. Among humans, diseases are rampant. We're running with our best science to catch up, but more and more people are suffering. There is no question that as a whole human race, we are living with pain. What about in your own personal life? Are you pain-free? Not very likely. So what kinds of pain are you living with? And how have you been dealing with it? We deal with pain a lot of different ways. Some are effective, some not so much. A few years ago, I was having some back pain. No big deal, really. I remember we were doing a strategy meeting in New York, and I had to present that day, so I was getting my teeth nice and brushed. I leaned over the sink to spit out the water, and then I couldn't straighten back up. The pain. So what do you think I did? I decided to do what I normally do, walk it off. So instead of taking a cab to the conference center, I walked. By the time I got there, I figured my back should be fine. It wasn't. So I stopped at a pharmacy and got their most powerful over-the-counter pain meds. That didn't do so much, so in the afternoon, I got a different type. Oh, and we had an evening meeting in a different part of Manhattan, so I popped a couple more. Don't be looking at me like that. If you consider yourself a high performer, then that's what you do. It's all about pain management. You pop them and you keep going and you make sure that you do your stuff really well. Shake hands, smile, high fives. Grab a cab, get back to your hotel. Maybe you can sleep off the pain. So, going into the following week, I was cycling through 3 different types of pain meds and doing great work. I was cranking out good stuff. Okay, I did kind of fall down once in the airport. So I just didn't try to lift anything or walk too fast. The Wednesday night, we had big deadlines, so we worked pretty late at the client office till about 9:45. Then we got into the elevator and headed down. When the door of the elevator opened, to me, the floor of the lobby looked really weird. It was wavy, moving up and down like you would expect from a lake or ocean. So clearly I couldn't walk on it, so I just stood there in the elevator. My colleagues were walking on it, which was strange. Then they noticed I wasn't with them, and they looked back to the elevator to see what was the holdup. But I just stood there. I tried to explain to them about the floor being wavy, but they didn't seem to understand. So they came and held onto my arms, one on the right, one on the left, and started to edge me out of the elevator. But it turned out I had a lot of trouble trying to stand on that floor or walk on it because it was moving so much. Turned out the sidewalk was the same way. It took them an hour to get me inch by inch down the 2 blocks to the hotel, by which time I was so seasick. I couldn't aim well enough to vomit into the toilet, so I just barfed all over the bathtub. What about you? Are you living with pain? Have you been trying your best to manage it, but it's just not working very well? One of the colleagues who was trying to walk me had a daughter who's a doctor there in New York. He called her up when we were inching along the sidewalk and told her what was going on. She said that when the body has had more than it can handle, it will sometimes try to put you into a coma to make you just stop. It will only do that when you keep refusing to listen to pain. The pain is there to let you know that something isn't right. So pain is not always an enemy. Sometimes pain is trying to be your friend. What is your pain? What's your pain trying to tell you? Is it trying to point out something to you that is wrong? Something you need to pay attention to? As you know, there are many different types of pain that a person can experience. There's physical pain, there's emotional pain, there's pain from unmet expectations and rejection and hostility and uncertainty, and probably much more. So I'm sure a lot of us are living with some type of pain. The pain might be acute, it might be caused by something specific for a period of time, or it might be chronic pain, long-lasting, always there. If you've got pain going on in your family, you know it's chronic. You're never apart from it. It's always there with you. Some of you may have had a medical condition for years, and you're never without pain. Here are some things that are part of life for people living with pain. Maybe you can relate. You never know how you'll feel in the morning. Could be a good day, could be a struggle from minute one. So don't beat yourself up and don't let yourself off. Another way to say that is don't do too much on your good days and don't do nothing on your bad days. Pain can change everything, how we use our time and energy, what we are able to do, and it can creep into every relationship we have. Sleep might not be happening. Pain meds can be great. Pain meds can be tyrants. Here are some random ramblings from a person in pain. They might say, or they might think, no, I'm not in a bad mood. I just don't have anything left. It has taken everything I've got today just to exist. Or they might want to tell you, your call or text is appreciated. I might not respond to it till next week, because truly, I don't have any words to say back to you. Some words might come by then. Or a person in pain might want to say to you, your question, so, any pain today? I don't even have an answer for, but God bless you for caring. Or, I don't know where my glasses are, and I can't muster up enough energy to go looking. The fact that they're right under the chair cushion is completely irrelevant. Or your friend in pain might actually be wanting to say, no, I don't dislike you. You just need to go away for right now. Or, yes, I know that pain can make me bitter or make me better. But we'll get to that choice tomorrow. Anyway, where I got to with pain came down to 2 words. They're now up on the wall. Choose happy. Choose happy. What does that mean in practical terms? Well, laugh. Eat apple pie. Maybe not for every meal. Move your body. Yes, that can cause more pain at first, but then less and less pain as you keep doing it and you keep getting stronger and stronger. Soak yourself in the presence of God, His Word, heavenly music, images of nature, God's beautiful handiwork. Close your eyes and just worship. Drift away. Sometimes, if your situation allows it, play some music you like, very loud or very soft. Some of you can really put it down and dance, pain or no pain. Some of us, maybe not. If you happen to have artistic talent, create something. None of the above will make pain completely go away, but it does go more to the background, and joy, unspeakable joy, moves forward. Now, what about the deep inner pain that comes because of other people? You know I'm going to recommend a bottle of forgiveness. Most of us have it up on the shelf, and we try it sometimes, but forgiveness can taste like Buckley's. We thought that if it's so great, well, it should taste like honey, but then it doesn't. The thing is, forgiveness doesn't necessarily make us happy, at least not at first. At first, it might make us feel ripped off, as if we have treated our own self unfairly, as if we have lost something. And we have. I mean, think about it. As long as we feel like that person owes us something, it's like an asset that we have. That's how a bank views a loan, as an asset, something to be repaid. So letting go of that can feel like a loss. But that loss also makes you lighter. Without that continuous heaviness, you can start to rise. Even if it's a slow rise, you can start to rise above people's ability to hurt you, at least for that hurt to be permanent. And that feels a lot more free. Interestingly, you might find that some of your physical pain starts feeling less and lighter too. But does pain actually play an important part in making a person into a Christian? Well, yes, it does, if you take Christian to mean like Christ. When the Apostle Paul talked about getting to know Jesus, he mentioned two main aspects of that: the glory of his resurrection and the fellowship of his suffering. It seems you don't really get to the one without the other. In fact, in 2 Corinthians 12, Paul relays what God said to him about it, along with his own conclusion. Verse 9, "And he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, most gladly, I will rather boast in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Therefore, I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in needs, in persecutions, in distresses for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong." Pain brings us to weakness, maybe to anger as well, to fear, to frustration, to the end of ourselves. It brings us to realizing that there's not a blessed or unblessed thing we can do about it. But is that all there is to pain? Not exactly. Not at all. God said that in our lowest condition, his strength is made perfect or complete in us. At that point, it's all we've got, nothing but God. Paul said when he realized that, then he started to take pleasure in the needs and persecutions and distresses and the personal illness, the things that were causing him pain. Not because he liked pain any more than we do, but because he realized that what was happening to him, realized what was happening as he experienced pain. That in doing so, he was also experiencing spiritual strength. Also, he was feeling brotherhood or fellowship with Jesus, who walked the road of suffering before us and walks it right along with us. Paul was not the only one who wrote about this. Peter also chimes in on this in 1 Peter chapter 4. He writes, "Therefore, since Christ suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves also with the same mind. For he who has suffered in the flesh has ceased from sin, that he no longer should live the rest of his time in the flesh for the lusts of men, but for the will of God. Beloved, do not think it strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened to you, but rejoice to the extent that you partake of Christ's suffering, that when his glory is revealed, you may also be glad with exceeding joy. Therefore, let those who suffer according to the will of God commit their souls to him in doing good, as to a faithful Creator." I'm going to nail this down with two more witnesses, and then we're done. Our suffering does something good for us and to us. At least that's the intent. But we are the ones who decide what fruit will be produced in us. Are we willing to let the pain we live with form us more into the character of Christ? Here's Hebrews chapter 2, verse 10 and 11. "For it was fitting for him, for whom are all things, and by whom are all things, in bringing many sons to glory, to make the captain of their salvation perfect through sufferings. For both he who sanctifies and those who are being sanctified are all of one. for which reason he is not ashamed to call them brethren. Therefore, in all things he had to be made like his brethren, that he might be a merciful and faithful high priest in things pertaining to God, to make propitiation for the sins of the people. For in that he himself has suffered, being tempted, he is able to aid those who are tempted. One last caution about what living with pain can do. It can make us permanently unpleasant and always having bad feelings about other people. Right? The common saying is that hurt people hurt people. But let's recognize that that is a choice each of us can make. It doesn't have to be that way. The Apostle James, Jesus' brother, is the last voice we will hear on this. James chapter 5, verses 9 to 11. Do not grumble against one another, brethren, lest you be condemned. Behold, the judge is standing at the door. My brethren, take the prophets who spoke in the name of the Lord as an example of suffering and patience. Indeed, we count them blessed who endure. You have heard of the perseverance of Job and seen the end intended by the Lord, that the Lord is very compassionate and merciful. Folks, in this fallen world, with fallen people and tough circumstances, we live with pain. That's a fact. But while we live with pain, let's allow the pain to do its good work and press us into the precious mold of the character of Christ. God bless you.